Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into a filing from Bunge Global SA. Get ready because it might sound like we're talking about different types of notes, but trust me, understanding this could clue you in on where they're heading. Before we get into it, Bunge is a huge company that deals with agricultural products like grains and oilseeds. They're a major player in the global food supply chain. This report is about them wrapping up some deals to swap out some old debt for new debt. Basically, they're refinancing. And that can tell us a lot about their financial health and future plans. Also, if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below. This report is dated July 8th, 2025, so it's pretty recent. It's a Form 8K, which companies file when there's a major event that shareholders should know about. In this case, it's the closing of some exchange offers and consent solicitations, which sound complicated but aren't really. I'll explain them bit by bit. Basically, Bunge's subsidiary, Bunge Limited Finance Corp, also known as BLFC, made some offers to exchange old notes for new ones. This is also called debt. Think of it like trading in an old car for a new one to get better payment terms. These notes were originally issued by Viterra Finance BV and guaranteed by Viterra Limited. This happened before Bunge acquired Viterra. They also asked the holders of these old notes for their consent or agreement to make some changes to the rules of those old notes. The old notes were called things like existing Viterra 2026 notes and existing Viterra 26 and 20U there do 2026 notes, new Bunge 2026 and 20,001 in these cases. The new notes issued by BLFC are called New Bunge 26 notes. New Bunge 2026 notes, New Bunge 2026 notes, New Bunge 2026 notes, New Bunge 2026 notes, New Bunge 2027 notes, New Bunge 2026 notes, New Bunge 2027 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 notes, New Bunge $2 billion of these New Bunge notes and some cash. But why would they want to do this? Because with this swap of debts, they wanted the note holders to agree to remove some of the covenants, which are basically promises or restrictions from the old notes. They also wanted to release Viterra and Viterra BV from guaranteeing these notes. By swapping the debts, they are hoping to make things simpler and give Bunge more flexibility financially. So how much of these new notes did they actually issue? Well, BFC issued $5,797.60, $300 is almost $5,800. The new Bunge $2,100 in dollars, $580 million of the new Bunge 2006 notes. They also issued $400,733,450, almost $400,000,9 million in debt September 17, 2020 as the annual report issue. Faint trust company as the trustee or the person who look after the money for the note holders. Bunge didn't get all of the old notes back. There's still some left, like about $20 million of the existing Viterra 26 notes, $10 million of the existing Viterra 27 notes, almost $125 million of the existing Viterra 2027 notes, almost $1.5 million existing Viterra 24 dollars in existing Viterra 22 notes. This remaining debt is still Viterra's responsibility and will continue under the old rules after the adjustments, despite the exchange offers which simplify the debts overall. What else is important? The interest payments on these new notes. Interest on these notes will accrue from April 25. The interest payments will be made twice a year, one in April and one in October, starting October 21, 2025. The interest rates vary depending on the note, like 2% for the 2003, mean they have to be repaid in the corresponding years too, that were previously mentioned. Bunge can also choose to redeem or pay back these notes early. Before specific dates they gave in the report, they have to pay a slight premium, meaning a bit extra. After those dates, called par call dates, they can buy them back at the face value plus any unpaid interest. They call this interest thereon. There's also something called a registration rights agreement dated July 8, 2025 with some investment banks. This agreement basically says that Bunge will try to register these new notes with the SEC, which makes them easier to trade and more attractive to investors. They have deadlines for filing the registration statement, getting it approved and completing the exchange offers. The investment banks here, like Buffer Securities and JP Morgan, act as dealer managers. They help Bunge with this whole exchange offer process and might do more deals with them in the future for which they get paid. There's also a section in the report about forward-looking statements. These are statements about what Bunge thinks will happen in the future. However, they come with a warning. Things might not go as planned due to a lot of risks and factors, as described in their reports filed with the SEC, including their last annual report on Form 10-K. They basically say don't rely too much on these predictions. Also, they don't promise to update these statements later on. This is pretty standard. Finally, the report includes a list of exhibits, which are additional documents related to the exchange offers. These include the agreement for supplemental indenture, forms of global note and right registration agreement. Now let's dissect what this all means. So what's the big picture here? Bunge just went through a process of exchanging notes, which is a sophisticated way of saying swapping debt. They replaced old debt with new debt. Why does this matter? Because it means Bunge is trying to manage its financial obligations and reduce risk. The goal being to reduce their financial burden by being able to pay debt. But if you see refinancing debt, what you really have to focus on here is, can they sustain repayments? That's the big question. The report itself admits that there are many uncertainties and factors that could affect their actual results. So we have to factor caution here. One of the key things to watch is whether Bunge can generate enough cash flow to service the new debt. If they can't, that will impact them negatively, putting under pressure projects, operations, or worse. Additionally, the deal also relies on Bunge's ability to tap into capital markets if needed, and its capability to achieve the expected gains promised. This is all uncertain and just forward-looking. Now, looking at these moves more broadly, Bunge's refinancing gives them more financial flexibility, but it's not a guaranteed win, Krent, in my opinion. This is a bet on future performance. They streamlined their debts and bought time to meet new obligations. Bunge believes they have what it takes. The investors and market has to agree. It'll be interesting to see how the market reacts to these strategic maneuvers in the coming months and years. Alright, that's our breakdown of Bunge's latest filing. What's your take on these moves and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.